Instead of eating leftover steak and mashed potatoes as leftover steak and mashed potatoes, how about turning them into an incredible quesadilla with caramelized onions and smoked Gouda cheese? That's today. You want to see my burn? You want to know what's crazy about this burn? It's actually two burns. I can't tell if I did them separately or at the same time. I have no recollection. I burn this arm like that so often. It's a ridiculous thing. Leftover steak and mashed potatoes, a good problem to have, but people often just have it the exact same way, day 2 or day 3. Well, that should end now. I'm going to show you what to do with them. And it would be an easy episode if I started with leftover steak and leftover mashed potatoes. But some of you would call me a douche. And I don't want to be a douche. So I'm going to show you how to make really easy, perfect mashed potatoes. We're going to cook a steak. The whole thing's going to come together beautifully. You'll be drooling by the end of this. I promise you. We start by peeling our potatoes. So I like little Yukon Gold potatoes for these. I think they what's the word I'm looking for? They turn into beautiful mashed potatoes. And of course the color is not going to hurt either. And since they're all generally the same size, we'll just peel them and then throw them in some water. And as long as you do them in a reasonably quick period of time, you'll be fine. Then they'll cook at the same time. And then you put the last one in. All right, in they go. The potatoes are going to take about 15 minutes until you can poke a fork in easily. That's step 1. While they're there, we will begin some red onions that I've cut into thin pieces, cooking on the flat top with the goal of caramelizing them beautifully. And caramelizing simply means they get that golden caramely kind of color, but more importantly, the sugars come out and they get sweet and amazing. So they'll go in here, give them a little shot of oil, and over the next 15-20 minutes, those are going to start to become amazing too. Leftover steak and mashed potato would demand a steak at some point, and we have right here a big beautiful ribeye. I think if you've watched any amount of Sam the Cooking Guy on YouTube, you know I'm a fan of a beautiful ribeye, and that's what we're using today. So let's season it up. So a tiny bit of avocado oil, just enough to help make the seasoning stick nicely. And then I'm using a combination of kosher salt, black pepper, and garlic powder. That's it. And we'll season liberally because it's a thick steak. And remember, I explained before, you're not eating slices this way, so you're only getting a little bit of the seasoning. Both sides, same. And then the edges, always the edges. You can get the extra that's on our paper. And then this guy can now go on the grill. And on she goes. Of course you want to hear the sizzle. That means the grill's hot enough. I'm about medium high. We want to start getting color a little bit, and then we're going to start flipping. And that's going to be the important part of cooking this perfectly. We've talked about taking a steak and either putting it in the oven or on the smoker at 275, which is low. Letting it get to the temperature you want for medium rare or whatever. And then when it's done, it comes out and you give it a quick sear and it's perfect inside. On a grill, the one way to do that is you have to turn the meat a lot. And by a lot, I mean like maybe every minute. This side, this side, this side, this side. Because if you just sit the steak on the heat and hope to cook it till it's halfway done and then flip it, you're going to get the gray here, here. You might get a little pink center, but gray, gray. You don't want that. So flipping. We're flipping. Let's just grab a cocktail. Step. I don't have anything in here. The kids drank all the beer. Grab a Astro. Grab. Astro. Grab a cocktail, grab a beer, get a friend, and just stand and hang out. You can't do it too much. You're not going to hurt it. The only thing you're going to do is help keep it beautiful inside. And speaking of beautiful, look at those kids on their way to quesadilla perfection. And nothing to do now. We're waiting for the potatoes to be ready. They're not waiting for the steak to be done. And how are we going to know, Sam, when it's done? Because we're using an instant reads thermometer. Get one. We put a link the last time we, what was that? That red one. It was like 25 bucks. We put a link. We'll put a link again. We're going for 130 degrees today. Oh, I got a lot of crap for the deep fried ribeye. It was too rare, Sam. It's raw, Sam. And then, of course, some people said it was amazing. We're going 130. That's when I'll pull it. Make my wife happy and make the crybabies happy. Just keep cooking. Astro! Look at my onions. After only a couple minutes, starting to soften really beautifully. In fact, I can use this side of the grill to cook them on. I might as well. We'll give that guy a turn. And then over she goes. At this point, the onions are softening beautifully. We'll give it now we'll give it a little salt and pepper with that same garlic powder in it. It's not going to hurt anything. And when they look like this, I say they're done. Let's take them off. And when the steak is there, off she comes. And it can rest. Okay, so I just checked the steak. It's like 133. I'm sure it's going to be okay. But see this piece? This little guy. This guy needs to be eaten. So, as a tester, I wouldn't be fair to myself or you if I didn't have a look and see if it was beautiful inside. Look how nice that is. And then have a damn bite. That's beautiful. I got an idea. Everybody wants Max to have a bite. Max, why don't you come around right now and have a bite? Come on.
I'm not doing this right now.
I was kidding.
Okay, well, I thought you actually wanted me to come out without my shirt on.
No, because then they'll see your nipple rings, and you don't want them seeing those, because they're still fresh.
I don't have nipple rings, God.
That's delicious. But look, the potatoes are ready. Stay there, stay there. Potato, I'm not tempting them, I'm just showing you how easy the knife goes in, right? These guys are ready. So now we'll drain them. Well, you'll see. All right, we start by draining them. Because in mashed potatoes, water is not your friend. In fact, it's the sworn enemy. And that's what you end up with. Beautiful, perfectly cooked potatoes that now need some love. Okay, so before I start mashing, I'm gonna melt some butter right here, 1/4 cup, with 3/4 of a cup of cream that looks like that, I think, on the Evo. It will melt, it's gonna go in here. But let's talk about mashing. You can use a hand masher to mash them. You can use a hand mixer. You wouldn't want to use a Cuisinart, that's crazy, and it would probably turn them gummy. I like one of these things. This is called a potato ricer. It's like a giant garlic press, and you see these holes in here? The potatoes go in and come out like pieces of rice. It makes for like the smoothest, most luxurious potatoes ever. Here's an example. You take a potato, you put it in, take the handle, lid down, and you squeeze, and out comes rice potato. You get a close-up of this, Max, it's pretty cool. Nice. And then just repeat. Grab another potato. And she goes. Down it comes. Ricing underway. Sweet. We can put a link to this. It's super useful. I love it. Potato here goes in. Grab another one. In it goes. It's the only way I like to make mashed potatoes. The only way. One left. Come on, now let's add our butter and cream next. So in goes the melted butter and the cream. Almost all of it, just wait and see how it's doing, and then mix. Oh, I know what's coming, and it is fricking mashed potato heaven. They won't be gummy, they won't be gluey, they'll just be amazingly gorgeous. Okay, tiny bit more. And at this point, we'll throw a little salt, pepper in too, and again with that little garlic powder thing, we'll mix. So at this point, here's what you do. You taste them. They're still steamy, but they're perfect and creamy as all can be. So leave them like this. They're fantastic. You want to add a little roasted garlic, they'd be even better. You want to add some crumbled blue cheese or a little Parmesan cheese, absolutely amazing. Some goat cheese stirred in, incredible. A little parsley thrown in, why the heck not? Look, it's at the very least, it's going to give it some color. And of course that taste that I'm in love with. Okay, so now look. Even better. Throw something green in for sure. Just make it make sense. I made a version once. I stirred in a little chopped up chipotle pepper and a little Monterey Jack cheese. Insane. You got options, folks. The point is, that's how you get yourself leftover mashed potatoes. They're left over. They're off to the side. We have a steak to cut. Let's do it. So here's our steak. Let's pull this guy down. Hey buddy, how are you? And now we're just gonna cut. Look, we just want super thin pieces of this. So this little outside fat layer, we'll say goodbye there. But look how nice this is. I'm gonna cut thin. Because what did I say? You want a beautiful color all the way through. So imagine you had a steak one night, you have extra, it's left over, just cut it up, put it in the fridge, and you leave it for a moment like this. It's a moment like this and we will be a lifetime. Who sings that song? Because certainly not me.
I don't know, but I was a little afraid that we were going to get copyright claimed by Lady Gaga after our last video.
Oh yeah, so but you better cut that. Can you imagine?
Mr. Beast and his crew sang one line of Journey, Living on a Prayer, and got their video claimed.
Oh boy. Please take out what I was just singing. I don't even know what it was, actually. So look, here's this little fat ridge, little fat line in here. So look, just pull apart, separate this. And now you've got smaller pieces. Take this little piece of fat off. Whatever you do, you don't want to eat these little corner pieces of fat, because I've heard they're not good for you. They're delicious for you. Keep cutting. Okay, so here's what's going to happen. You're going to end up with a pile of beautiful steak looking like this, right? That's the goal. And now that's left over. All right, now, folks, we're pretty close. I think we can build this thing. So take your steak. We'll move it off of the cutting board. Look at that pile. Can you just have a look, please, at that pile? You want to talk about gorgeous? Talk about gorgeous. I defy you to tell me it's not cooked properly.
Now that's a pile.
Now that's a pile. Now, we get to build. And this is exciting because it's going to be so good. Look, I'm using raw tortillas. And what do I mean by that? Here's what I mean. You know, I'm a fan of the giant ones that I get from my taco shop, but we'll go a little bit smaller. But you notice that they're almost translucent. Is that the word? You can see my fingers through here, right? Mm-hmm. They're not white. They're not cooked. They are uncooked. But I want a little bit of color on each side, so we'll throw them on the Evo for a second, just a second, and then we'll continue. On they go. I don't want anybody sticking. And as you start to watch, you'll see translucent, the white parts. It starts to go white where it's cooking a little bit. So we only want a little bit on each side because we are going to finish them on the grill. So watch a tiny bit more on this back side. And then, look, if you're using already cooked tortillas, you don't need to do this. Not necessary at all. For these guys, that's enough, and off they come. Okay, first thing, some mashed potatoes. Yeah, remember they're supposed to be leftover. But boy, I can smell them from here, and dang, do they smell freaking good. Try and be even. I'm glad I put that parsley in because it is gorgeous. Okay, next, smoked Gouda. And smoked because, you know, it's just gonna add an extra layer of flavor. You might as well, okay? Now, red onions. This is near perfection. Okay, two more things. One is our perfect steak that we're now gonna come in and just layer like crazy everywhere. Jeez. So, like I always tell you this, don't be cheap. This is not the time to be cheap. Put like a decent amount of steak on this thing. And then a little more cheese. Just to work like glue. You got a decent amount already on. This is really meant only to be glue for this other tortilla. Oh my goodness. And this guy goes like that. Hello, buddy. Okay, so we cook it two ways. And the first is on the flat top. Because we want it to slowly start to melt and do all the right things on the inside. I'll show you the second thing we do after we flip it. I think you can see cheese on the edges just starting to melt. Oh yeah. And then when it's starting to get beautiful color on the bottom, we give it a flip. Okay, now here's the deal. I don't need it fully golden brown because I'm going to finish it. In an unnecessary step of additional cooking, it'll get a little bit more color, and I'll show you that in a second. And here's the unnecessary step. We give it just a tiny little bit of oil, using avocado oil. We brush it kind of evenly across the top. And then we gently pick it up. We bring it over to the grill, and then we lay it down. Why'd we do that, Max?
Color.
Stripes. That's right. And then a little bit more oil on this side. So we're ready. And then after a little bit, we give it a flip. And look, you got some pretty lines on there. When you're happy with the second side, off we come. And we're down. Oh, snap. That wasn't supposed to happen. Shit. Did it stay together? Oh my God, it's gonna be so good. So, let's cut. You know, it almost completely fell apart when I put it down. Oh, did you hear the crunch? Oh, the crunch. Look what's happening here. All that on the inside. Holy shit. And now I get to have a bite. I mean, I love this. I love the taste, It's fucking decadent, is what it is. Mashed potatoes belong in everything. They make everything better, honestly. The meltiness, the smoked Gouda in this is crazy. The steak, the hot, and those onions. It's a mess. It's not the prettiest thing I've ever made. It's definitely not the prettiest thing I've ever seen. That being said, the crispiness, the texture, the whole thing in the mashed potatoes, I can't keep saying it enough. are insanely delicious. So make this, please. The point is, if you're making a steak for dinner tonight, throw an extra one on. If you're making mashed potatoes for 2, make mashed potatoes for 3 or 4, and then use them in other ways. Wow. This is an absolute 11 out of 10. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for subscribing and commenting and being as cool as you are when I get to meet you. As cool as you are, because you're pretty great. Don't just stand there looking at me. Go make something. Quick.